Can you describe the difference between what the guides were doing 40 years ago than what they do today that's different? I see them doing the same thing they were doing 40 years ago. I didn't know they were babysitting anybody. I thought that the way it was set up, that everybody was working their way through to work the way up to where they would be a so-called master. And that was the whole idea.
Well, look at how your mother raised you, Ronald.
Well, actually, she didn't raise me. I sort of raised myself.
Well, whatever. So we have that. And look at how you went through high school. Look at that. So is your basically, you know, for the most part, your physical life, that's your physical life, that's your physical view, is basically just like you went when you went through high school, isn't it? It's all there because that's your basis. But are you still in high school? Is your life really the same? But yet that's your basis, isn't it? Your physical life, separating it from all the other ideas because you went through high school. I'm imagining that you quit or you graduated, whatever, but you went through parts of it. You were indoctrinated and programmed, like all of us, to the systems. Someone else invented the systems. We didn't do it. They invented the language. We didn't do it. We just followed along. We're robotized to it. We're literalized to it. So basically your life comes from that, your upbringing, and it's a little bit different than it was, but you can say it's the same. You know, again, it just depends upon what you see. That's the difference between this, and so it has to start somewhere.
Well, the idea is you're going to have to, when you talk to people, you have to give them some idea where you're coming from.
Right.
It gets kind of confusing because the way Paul had it before, at least there was a technique, but now it sounds like that's all gone.
Yeah.
None of that exists anymore.
Well, it does exist if you make it so for yourself. You see what exists in the world. Now, there was a little phrase that Paul used, and that is that there is something else that exists, and it would seem like it can't or doesn't. So again, and the isness was talked about too in one of the books, like 1/3 of a page or whatever. But that was it. It wasn't talked about. And awareness really wasn't talked about. It was being spiritual and unfoldment, etc. These ideas, these labels, you see? And so like the God Worlds chart, that's all literal. So it's being able to see it. Now, yeah, because you have to learn to see it, what you've never seen before. So on the surface, yeah, it all looks the same, techniques, whatever. Seems like I'm just replacing it with new ideas. In a way, that's so, because creation is limited. And so this is where on the real side, it actually shows up. In other words, with your real awareness. Now, Paul talked about the 5 bodies, and he said, oh, soul is a happy entity. I know, I was there. I'm with Paul and Rebazar. They show this stuff. But, and that's all cute. That's like for little kid stuff. And Helen Beard, I knew her. She drew the little cartoons in that for Paul, etc. Her and Patty Simpson. So, and that was cute stuff. And that's where we were babysat, is what we were. You see?
Well, if you try to explain to somebody and they use the term heaven, I know they understand that definition. You're saying that those systems don't work anymore?
They don't understand that at all. Because again, those are the many mansions mentioned in the Bibles, and those are the different dimensions that are in creation. So again, the heaven and hell idea, that's all in creation. Those are labels and ideas. And, you know, anything can be your heaven. You know, you look at the people that are rich here on the earth, that's their heaven. They have a yacht, they're driving out there in the Bahamas. That's their heaven, you know. Doesn't matter.
So they're creating, you can create all of this, even though it doesn't really exist. but you can actually cause it to exist.
Well, again, like
Create,
in your life, you know, we were told in these spiritual paths, oh, this is Maya, this is illusion, but yet you're experiencing it, and it's its own reality. It is its own reality, and just like any thought, that all of a sudden you're getting it from nothing into something, you see, and you're making it so you can take that thought and all of a sudden you can, it's like, oh, I want to build a house. So you get the physical materials, that's on the physical, but that thought is in another dimension, we'll say, isn't it? Yeah, because you have 5 bodies you're operating. So that's your mind body on another dimension, but you want to bring it here into the physical because you've been told since birth that you're just a physical person and you think this is what you are. And take a look at yourself in Eckankar, and that is that you're still basically the physical person there. That's it. You're told certain things, you're reading certain things, and it sounds good to your personal self only, and that's where you want to stay. And you're thinking that, oh, you're going to go to a happy place because you were told this. And, you know, that can be so, but it's usually just some other realm that's similar to this because that's really what you want. And to really see what's real, this isness, and Paul gave it a hint in the tiger's fang, but who can see it? There's the hint there, but that's it. And it's a wisp. And even when Paul went through the tiger's fang, and during the story, in the story, he came back and he said to Rebazar, I still have not found myself. What he was saying is he didn't see it yet. And that's what this is about. That's why I'm saying this is not a teaching, it's not a path, it's none of these things. Those are all labels, is all they are. People are looking to labels. They don't know who God is. They don't know who this Mahanta consciousness is. It's it's nothing. It's a label. Because life doesn't agree. There's no awareness there. You just have the label. It's like a car with no engine. You got the car, it looks good, but you got no engine. But again, you got to learn to see it, Ronald. And when you're very literalized and you look to your mind because it's not there, you've got to learn to see something else that you cannot consider. I've said this many times, and this is where, no, basically nobody sees it.
yeah, well, I'm trying to figure out how to tell people in the direction that you're going.
And like anything, like a child is raised. You know, you can't tell the child about your college, your experience in college and all the classes you went through. No, you take it a step at a time. All you can do is present something, and this is where the real guidance comes in. Okay, it's not just us thinking. See, you got to get out of your way. You got to get out of your own way, and that is that you become the presenter. I'm just a presenter here. I'm just presenting this. They chose me because I can see it. That's why they chose me. Others can't. They chose Paul because he could see it. But he had to start off somewhere. And what you're seeing is something in creation because we need creation, but that's not what life is. Not at all. 2 different things. What life is and creation and all those ideas that you've come through. That's not life. That's not what it is. All life's awareness to be recognized for what it is. You know, just like the air you breathe, it supports you. And you can think whatever you like about it. Oh, it's air, it's oxygen, it's molecules, whatever. That has nothing to do with it. It is what it is. And it's to be recognized for what it is, not for what it's not. All the description is not it. That's not it. So you learn to identify, first of all, that's called the old idea of self-realization, where you learn to identify the personal self. But again, these spiritual paths, they mainly identify the personal self in the physical sense. They don't go over all the different positions, you see? that, you know, the other four bodies that you're dealing with too, and what's going on there, and the tapland, whatever. No, they just see surface world, spiritual, whatever. That's what the Ekkas see now. That's why the place is full of reptilians and all tapline, because Joni and Harold have made sure that they're one-dimensional and they're under control. And just like this experience that was shared, he was shown again that they're bloodsuckers, which they are. When Paul was here, it was different. But since it was taken over, you know, again, it's like anything, it's always taken over. So all these pretty words from the past and all this stuff, they're all just labels. That's not it. So a new position has to be, you know, started to see if people will see beyond the veil, see beyond creation altogether. Creation is its own reality. That's it. And it's all make believe. We make it up. This, you're in the movie, you're in the opera here. And we need this, but it's not it. So even though people have experiences, they see, oh, I saw this and that. That's a vision. What do they see from that? I've known the best seers see way, way more than anybody can. And you know what? They failed because they didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you think it is, whatever you're comparing it to, that's not it, kid. Sorry. But that's how it is. It's not up to me. I'm trying to show people how to see it, but you have to learn that on your own. That is your part, and all they can do, it's like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That's a decision on your part, and you decide how much time, energy, focus that you're going to put into figuring this out. That's up to you.
My problem is just trying to figure out how to tell people where we're at. I don't know how to tell them.
That it's not a. That's where you become creative. That's where the guides are creative. See, they're looking for people that want to step up and be creative, because that's the first step. Just like children in school. What do they do in the 5th grade? They're sitting there coloring. They're sitting there drawing and coloring. They're doing something. You see, those are the first steps to go through. Then comes the symbols of the language for communication, etc. Look at the steps. The real guides are doing the same thing. Now it's to get you to see more than just creation, because that's what you've been used to. That's what you've been embedded in. And are you willing to see? And that's invisible, dude. You have to learn to see the real language, and it has nothing to do with what you know. So that's where even Paul said it, I had to learn to forget, and forget I did. There are the hints. Yeah, it's all there, but people weren't ready for it. You see, they weren't ready for it, because that's why Paul was the babysitter, and it's okay. We needed that. I needed it. I needed a refresher course to come in and to adjust this, you know, how I saw and decided things and whatever. And yeah, those were the good old days. Yeah, that's like the 50s, you know, people thinking Eckankar was the good old days. We went to the seminar, we had fun, life was good. I made money in construction. Oh, it was all good. But that's not now, because see, life is so awesome, you cannot even consider it. It is always new now. It's not at all what you think. And so all these spiritual paths, and we are the givers of light, and we are the unity. Oh, those are cute ideas, but they're all in creation. They have nothing to do with what's real. You can't figure it out. You have to learn to see it, recognize it. Just like you did gradually through school. You sang the ABCs, but you didn't know what they were. But eventually it's like, oh, now I see what this means. Eventually you recognized it. Those are little steps, see? It's all in creation. Now the bigger picture is this endlessness, the isness life is, to recognize it, because it's all invisible to anything you've ever known. But yet it's visible to those that can see it. You can't figure it out with your mind, dude. You've got to learn to see it. And how you express yourself will show, etc. And again, on the real side. So Jeremy's experience of a while ago where he saw me, and then all of a sudden he saw that, oh, I had a mask on. And so he pulled it off, and there was Paul. And then he pulled that mask off, and there was Rebazar. And he pulled that mask off, and there was Gopal. He didn't quite understand the experience. Well, it's very simple. Duane's the same as God because he sees it. Yeah. Your challenge for you is you decide if you're going to see it. That's up to you, not up to me. I'm the presenter. That's why I called it the new presentation, because I looked at the playing field. You know, Paul called it Eckankar because his task was to bring it together as to be so-called more spiritual than what existed. That was his task. Step one. That was the pill at the time. Mm-hmm. Now, no, it's not that. The new presentation is not a category. It's not a religion. It's not spiritual. It's not a path. It's not anything. It's just a presentation, like the sun shining. It's presenting itself to you. And who can see that? Can you recognize what the sun is showing you more than the light that it's shining? Can you recognize that? That's your first step. Who can do that? Most people will look at the sun and go, oh, I like the sun. It's shining. Oh, it's wonderful. Those are all ideas in your head. That's not what I'm referring to. Not at all. It's
How about this is a definition, a deep dark void.
I decided the levels. I was chosen the position, so just like when Paul was here, he decided what to do. I decided to change the levels, and they become changed. And I saw the deep dark border is very essential, so I made it the 6th level because, see, many of the spiritual paths, think of that as the void or the end of life or nirvana or whatever they want to call it. And it's not. It's just getting through the first step, which is creation. And many of these spiritual paths think that, oh, that's the end of life. There's just darkness. There's nothing there. Well, that's not true at all. So again, that's why I changed the levels. And it's interesting, all of a sudden, the so-called soul plane that was on the 5th level, that becomes the subconscious level where Joni and Harry are controlling everybody. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, you can see it for yourself on the real side. If you have or not, I don't know. There's many people that do. And so again, everybody has their own experiences. You are yourself. You have your life. You decide. And yeah, it takes a lot. It takes lifetimes. That's why I tell people 50 years. But you start them off with something. You start them off with your dreams. And now I like to call it your intuitive senses, your new intuitive opening. Because again, here's the idea of intuition. And most of the people I talk to, they don't even know what the heck that is because they're so mind framed with their literal mind in the business world. It's like, what is intuition? What is that? And that's still in creation. You need that. That's a reference. Through that intuition, you gain insight to eventually recognize your real awareness. You need to go through the steps. You need to see all the parts. Just like if you want to fix your car, you got to identify the parts to see what's not working so that the rest of it works. Same thing. You're getting all the principles here, but now we're getting into the true reality life is, which really supports you, which is invisible, etc., and that you cannot see like you've seen. So what is it? Yeah, that's the fun part, dude. There's your real adventure and challenge. You want to be bored? You want to just grow old and be bored? Here's a real challenge for you.
Well, at 84, I don't think I'm much bored anymore.
Well, guess what? There's no such thing as 84, but you decide.
Oh, okay.
Your awareness, but you want to be 84? You've been at many.
Not really.
Well, again, You're the decider, Ronald, aren't you? Does anybody decide your life? Or is there a God deciding your life? Or some master or guru or Revazar? Do they decide your life? No, they don't decide your life. You do.
I think
You
you're
do.
pretty well on your own.
You do. You heard that from the doctors and your parents. Oh, you're 84. We'll celebrate your birthday. Well, as long as you keep agreeing, that's what you are, Ronald. Yeah, you keep agreeing. People keep agreeing to be duh. People keep agreeing that it's okay to poison the planet. Yeah, yeah, we'll be fine. Keep poisoning it. See, it's all agreement. I figured
I
it out.
agree with you. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I figured it out for you, Ronald. I figured it out for a lot of people. They don't get it. But that's okay. I'm just a presenter. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. That's why these people see me on the real side, because I'm helping them see, etc. You see? And you and everybody, we're all in the same life. We're all the same awareness, but we each decide our position with life. Yeah, there's something to go over. So again, uh, the best part of this is that once you really let go, you don't have to blank the mind and do all that stuff. No, that's something, yeah, but that's not it. Once you learn to really let go and recognize that all life is always new now. And it's more than Eckhart Tolle talks about, because again, he also refers to authorities. And as long as you're referring to an authority, you're referring to something in creation. Because what all life is has nothing to do with any authorities at all. It's not that at all. Because the business life is free with itself. And so again, we just learn to identify with this reality and just be real with it. That's all. And that's recognition. That's what it's about. So it's not a path or a teaching or a way or higher or lower. It already is. Just need to recognize it. But each person decides how they're going to do that for themselves, or they're not. Most people don't want anything to do with it because they've got their religion or their ideas or whatever. They're label chasers. They love their labels. God, saviors, Mahanta, all these things. These are ideas. Learn to see through it or don't, whatever. But as soon as you see the other side of the curtain, you see that it's just a bunch of reptilians over there as the puppet masters, whatever. And a lot of people are okay with that. That's fine. They're okay with that. So it's none of my business. I'm just doing what I'm doing. I'm having fun. I'm having fun listening to people that want to sincerely wake up from this passing dream and take part and do something creative to help others. Because you might say the secret of life is learning to help others become more aware, and then you will become more aware. That's how it works. Just like parents taking care of their children, they care more about their children than themselves. So when you get out of yourself and you care about others becoming more aware, then you will see better. Until then, it's all about you. You
Well, I
decide.
think it becomes try to become you're the boss.
There you go. Whatever you decide. Okay. I never liked that word. And they would call me that at Home Depot. And I said, I'm not the boss.
Oh,
I'm not the boss. I'm just Duane. Okay, here we go. Yes, thank you for asking that, Ronald. Good to see you. Yes, thank you so much for being here and sharing. The questions are good.